Prince Harry thought he knew the woman he married, until a forgotten photo, a luxury yacht, and two chilling words shattered everything. Soho House. What started as a late-night curiosity became a spiraling descent into secrets, voicemails, and a web of elite manipulation. Meghan's carefully guarded past has exploded into full view. Was their love story ever real? Or was Harry the final prize in a game played long before they met? Stay with us. The truth is darker than you think. The yacht photo that changed everything. In August 2023, Prince Harry sat alone in his Montecito study, staring at a photo that had quietly unsettled him for over 3 weeks. The image, taken off the coast of Croatia, showed a luxury yacht drifting through bright waters. It had been shared by tabloids and reposted across social media, often with no context, just another celebrity vacation photo. But Harry couldn't stop returning to it. He'd zoom in, scroll back, and each time he examined it, something gnawed at his instincts. Then, one night around 2 a.m., he spotted it, a small navy blue canvas bag near the yacht's railing. It bore 2 words in gold, Soho House. The moment he saw it, his stomach dropped. This wasn't just any yacht. It was tied to a world Meghan had never told him about in full. Immediately, Harry pulled out his laptop and typed in 3 names that had never before felt suspicious. Marcus Anderson, Meghan Markle, Soho House. The search results came fast. Old blog archives from 2014, obscure interviews, tagged party photos on defunct social media pages. He found references to Anderson not as a stylist or casual friend, but as the global membership director of Soho House. Descriptions painted Marcus as a power broker, someone who didn't just attend elite events, he curated them. He had controlled access to high-ranking guests in Toronto, London, and New York, placing the right women in the right rooms. Meghan hadn't just known Marcus. She had seemingly been one of his long-term placements. The discovery was subtle, but it hit Harry like a direct blow to the chest. As the night dragged on, Harry continued scrolling and uncovering connections that increasingly didn't make sense. He came across images from Barcelona, 2015, showing Meghan on a rooftop surrounded by European financiers. Another showed her at a dinner in Istanbul, 2016, beside 2 men Harry had met the following year at a polo fundraiser in Windsor. The overlaps were no longer isolated. They were patterned, organized, deliberate. Meghan had been orbiting the royal world for years before she ever claimed to meet Harry on a blind date in July 2016. He remembered their early conversations, the way she'd seemed so fascinated by his world. And now he wondered if she'd already known it intimately. These weren't random moments, they were stepping stones. Worse still, the numbers didn't add up. Harry had seen Meghan's contract with USA Network. Even with her $50,000 per episode Suits income, her ability to fly internationally, stay at £1,200 per night hotels, and wear designer outfits valued at £5,000 per appearance had always seemed off. But now, he had an explanation. A contact at Soho House Toronto confirmed that Meghan's membership had been fully comped for 5 years, thanks to Marcus's influence. Not discounted. Entirely free. That single detail confirmed what Harry now feared. Meghan hadn't stumbled into this life. She had been guided into it, and someone had paid the price to keep doors open. The bag on the yacht wasn't just a forgotten accessory. It was the thread that unraveled the truth. That single photo, the canvas bag, the shadows, the name in gold, had opened a door Prince Harry was never meant to walk through. And on the other side of that door stood a man he had always seen as a harmless +1 at events. But Marcus Anderson was no ordinary friend. He was the architect behind Meghan's rise, and his influence stretched far deeper than Harry ever imagined. What he uncovered next would turn suspicion into certainty, and loyalty into betrayal. The architect of access. To the public, Marcus Anderson was just Meghan's fashionable friend from her Toronto days. A guy who appeared in party photos, made stylish cameos at Soho House lounges, and gave off a low-key charm. But what Prince Harry discovered in September 2023 told a different story. Marcus wasn't just a guest, he was an orchestrator. As global membership director of Soho House, he oversaw high-profile guest lists, controlled membership approvals, and managed events in London, New York, Toronto, and Berlin. With each article Harry read, the title "Friend" seemed more like a disguise. Anderson's real job was making sure the right women met the right men. And Meghan? She had been on his radar for years before Harry ever appeared. Archived interviews from 2012 to 2015 referred to Marcus in glowing but coded terms. A connector, the man who makes the introductions, a private fixer. Several London socialites described his work as a sort of elite matchmaking, not romantic, but transactional. He placed women with ambition into elite rooms and ensured they had the look, polish, and opportunity to climb. His finishing school, as insiders called it, had no building or syllabus. It was a whisper network. Meghan had become one of his top protégés by 2014. She wasn't just attending Soho House events, she was being strategically placed in proximity to billionaires, royals, and celebrities. And each placement was funded, curated, and monitored behind the scenes. By mid-September, Harry had tracked down 3 former Soho House insiders, one from Toronto, one from Shoreditch, and one who'd worked with Marcus during the 2015 Cannes Film Festival. All 3 confirmed what Harry feared. Meghan's meteoric rise had been no accident. Her applications were waved through, her dues fully covered through corporate sponsorship, and her travel, yachts, resorts, event invites subsidized through powerful mentors. Harry calculated it quietly: $70,000 per year in lifestyle support, minimum. Meghan's public income didn't account for even half. Marcus wasn't offering friendship. He was offering access and expecting something in return. More haunting than the financials were the guest lists. Harry reviewed archived party invites from Soho Farmhouse 2015, Art Basel Miami 2014, and Serpentine Summer Party 2016. Meghan had been photographed at every one. At least 12 guests on those lists had also attended the royal wedding. Anderson was more than a mutual connection. He was the architect of Meghan's social rise. And the more Harry uncovered, the more he realized he had never really questioned why Marcus had a front-row seat at his wedding, or why he always seemed to appear where power gathered. Now, those appearances felt deeply intentional, part of a long game Harry never saw coming. Marcus Anderson wasn't just present, he was positioned. And now Harry understood that Meghan hadn't just been shaped by this network, she had been selected by it. But nothing prepared him for what came next. A wedding guest list that, on the surface, looked like a celebration of love. But when examined closely, it revealed a network in full display. Meghan hadn't just invited friends, she had invited allies. What Harry thought was a royal romance was beginning to look more like a social summit. The wedding guest list. The official wedding guest list, printed and bound in May 2018, sat untouched on Harry's shelf for over 5 years. But now, in October 2023, he opened it with new eyes. Flipping through the 600 names, he scanned Meghan's side with surgical precision. Something immediately felt off. Out of her 200 guests, over 60 had direct affiliations with Soho House. Members, executives, party planners, and stylists who had all appeared in her social media posts dating back to 2013. These weren't childhood friends or former co-stars from Suits. They were architects of the world Marcus had built around her. Marcus Anderson, unsurprisingly, had a front-row seat, seated just behind Oprah and across from Serena Williams. To Harry, that had once seemed like an innocent gesture. Marcus had been there from the start, right? But now, it felt more like a throne reserved for the mastermind. Even more revealing were the quiet figures who never drew headlines. Jessica Mulroney, a power stylist with deep Soho House ties. Misha Nonu, credited with introducing Harry and Meghan, was also a longtime Soho insider. Isabel May, the elusive PR guru, had handled past Soho House launches and was spotted at Meghan's bridal shower. These weren't coincidences, they were markers of allegiance. One photo from the reception haunted Harry more than the rest. It showed Marcus Anderson with 4 Soho House executives all raising their glasses, smiling, not just with joy, but with triumph. In retrospect, the wedding didn't feel like a family celebration. It felt like a victory lap. Meghan wasn't being welcomed into royalty. She was presenting her network's masterpiece. It was, as one 2019 Vanity Fair article put it, a crowning moment for modern influence. That phrase had once made Harry proud. Now it made him feel used. His own wedding, reinterpreted through this lens, looked like the final act in a script he never wrote. To make matters worse, Harry found that several guests from Meghan's side had minimal contact with her post-wedding. It was as if their presence was symbolic, proof of connections, not closeness. The realization was like a slow-growing shadow. Meghan had curated her wedding list like a branding campaign. And at the center of that campaign was Harry himself. No one had chosen him for who he was. He was the crown jewel, the proof that the network could reach the highest levels of power. And that thought, more than any betrayal, left him hollow. The wedding had been a spectacle, but now it felt like an unveiling. And as Harry pieced together the guest list with the yacht photos and Marcus's strategy, another memory clawed its way back. A voicemail from November 2017, from a voice he had pushed away. William had tried to warn him, and for the first time, Harry realized he had ignored not just his brother, but the truth. What he heard in that voicemail would shake him to his core. William's voicemail. The voicemail was dated November 3, 2017. At the time, Harry had seen the notification on his phone and rolled his eyes. He hadn't even listened to the full thing. His relationship with William had already been strained, and anything that smelled like royal interference only made Harry pull further away. But now, 6 years later, he tapped play on a quiet night in Montecito. William's voice was calm, clear, and almost pleading. "Harry," it said, "Palace security ran a background check. Meghan's been in the Soho House crowd for years. Marcus Anderson isn't just a friend. He positions women. Please, look into this before you propose." The words sliced through Harry like glass. His brother hadn't been acting out of jealousy or tradition. He had been trying to protect him. There were 2 more voicemails, one warning about Marcus's ties to former girlfriends of European royals, another noting Meghan's presence at 2014 polo after-parties Harry himself had attended. He hadn't seen her there, but she had been in the room. William hadn't been guessing. He had been informed. And Harry, convinced the world was against his love, had dismissed it all. The guilt hit him in waves. For years, Harry had told himself the rift with William had been over protocol and press interference. But now, he saw it differently. William hadn't tried to sabotage the relationship. He had tried to slow it down. He had seen the pattern forming and feared Harry was being used. The knowledge that he had silenced his brother, refused to listen, refused to trust, burned in his chest. Meghan had said William was cold and dismissive from the start, but maybe that distance was rooted in knowledge, not arrogance. The guilt was unbearable, but it was the next discovery that fully shattered the illusion. Harry had always believed that the magic of his romance with Meghan was in its spontaneity. The blind date, the lucky timing, the charm of fate. But now, he began to uncover a pattern that stretched back years. Photos, guest lists, social threads, and a Reddit post that changed everything. Meghan hadn't stumbled into his world. She had rehearsed for it. The rehearsed romance. By late October 2023, Prince Harry found himself submerged in a digital labyrinth of old photos, timestamps, metadata, and archived posts that stretched back to 2013, 2014, 2015. Years before he ever sat across from Meghan Markle at the so-called blind date, arranged by Misha No in July 2016. One particular discovery hit him like a strike to the chest. A Reddit thread created in 2019, mapping Meghan's presence at elite events across Istanbul, Barcelona, London, and Toronto, and overlaying those moments with key events in Harry's own public schedule. The alignment was too neat, too deliberate, too choreographed. What looked like chance overlap was now re-exposed as intentional proximity, a rehearsal, not romance. Harry stared at an image taken in Barcelona, May 2015, time-stamped 10:42 p.m., showing Meghan standing at a rooftop party with two venture capital owners he'd met at a Centebele fundraiser in 2017. Another photo from Istanbul, June 2014, placed Meghan at a private Soho House dinner alongside a British military donor Harry knew from Sandhurst days. He remembered asking Meghan, early in their relationship, whether she had ever crossed paths with anyone from his circle. Her answer, "No, never, babe," felt like a knife when held against this evidence. The photographs didn't lie, and more strangely, she never appeared casually. She was always in the center of the frame, always near the most influential attendees, always placed, positioned, presented. Then came the financial discrepancies. Harry had once defended Meghan fiercely when tabloids questioned how she could afford her pre-royal lifestyle. He had chalked the luxury to hustle, to success on suits. But now, as he re-examined the numbers, the truth was undeniable. Meghan earned roughly $50,000 per episode. Yet her travel bills, club memberships, and event wardrobes averaged $70,000 to $90,000 per year between 2014 and 2016. A Soho House insider confirmed that Meghan's memberships in Los Angeles, Toronto, and London were fully comped through a corporate account controlled by Marcus Anderson, not discounted, not subsidized, fully paid. Harry reread the email twice, heart pounding. Meghan hadn't just been welcomed into those elite circles, she had been financed into them. The romance he once believed was serendipity now appeared to be a meticulously crafted ascent. with Meghan rehearsing the role years before Harry entered the stage. But as the patterns sharpened and the coincidences evaporated, Harry's curiosity twisted into fear. If Meghan's rise had been engineered, then who was the engineer? The answer came next, not from photos or threads, but from Meghan herself during their quiet confrontation in Montecito, when Harry finally asked the question he had avoided for years. The Montecito confrontation. It was the first week of November 2023, around 9:17 p.m., when Harry finally asked the question that had been clawing at him for weeks. They sat in the kitchen of their Montecito mansion, Meghan sipping chamomile tea from a Soho farmhouse-branded mug, Harry gripping his phone with the wedding guest list still pulled up. "Are you still in contact with Marcus Anderson?" he asked. The air froze. Meghan's face hardened instantly, as if she'd rehearsed the expression. Her response came without emotion, without hesitation, without explanation. "He's my friend, Harry. Of course we talk." It wasn't the words that broke him. It was the tone. Cold, measured, calculated. This was not the warm Meghan he had defended in 2018, 2019, 2020. This was someone protecting a connection. Harry pushed forward, his voice cracking as he listed the findings. The 5 years of Comped memberships, the Barcelona 2015 rooftop photos, the Istanbul 2014 dinner, the 60 Soho House guests at their wedding, the Reddit timeline, the financial irregularities. Meghan's eyes stayed fixed on him, unblinking. When he asked whether she had been guided into elite circles, she said nothing. Silence, long, suffocating silence, filled the room. Harry then mentioned the voicemails from William, including the one dated 3 November 2017, warning him about Marcus positioning women. Meghan's reaction flashed for the briefest second. Anger, not fear. "Your brother never wanted us together," she snapped. But the more she spoke, the clearer it became that she was deflecting, not denying. When Harry pressed about the yacht photo from Croatia, 2023, Meghan simply stood up, placed her mug in the sink, and said, "You're being paranoid." 3 words, no explanations, no reassurance, just dismissal. The confrontation left Harry shattered, but he still hoped the truth was smaller than the fear consuming him. Yet what came next wasn't smaller. It was bigger, deeper, and darker. Because the moment he stepped outside of personal revelations and examined Meghan's world from a distance, patterns, finances, associates, timelines, he discovered something far worse. Meghan hadn't just moved through elite circles. She had been assisted, elevated, and funded by a hidden system operating behind her every step. The hidden architecture behind the smile. By mid-November 2023, Harry had shifted from emotional panic to methodical investigation. He began studying Meghan's entire ascent through a wide lens, tracking every event, introduction, and high society appearance between 2011 and 2016. A disturbing pattern emerged. Meghan was never alone in these elite spaces. She was always accompanied by someone connected to Soho House, whether it was Jessica Mulroney, Misha Nonu, Marcus Karg, Isabel May, or, most often, Marcus Anderson. Her presence had been coordinated, not spontaneous. Her entry into powerful rooms had been paved, not accidental. Harry found evidence that Meghan had been included in invitation-only events across Los Angeles, Barcelona, London, Istanbul, New York, Toronto, and even Berlin, all through Marcus's guest lists. One document, dated 15th June 2015, listed Meghan as a priority +1 placement, At a yacht event funded by a European tech investor, Harry later met through Centibale. Another, from September 2014, included Meghan in a VIP dinner at Shoreditch House as part of a visibility group, a term used internally for women who were being strategically introduced into elite networking circles. It was a system, a structured one. Even Meghan's earliest connections to famous names, Serena Williams, 2014, Priyanka Chopra, 2015, Abigail Spencer, 2013, were linked to the same network of parties curated by Marcus. To Harry, it was a slow death of a fairy tale. Meghan hadn't risen naturally. She had been elevated, pushed upward by a quiet, powerful architecture. And Harry, lonely, longing, vulnerable, had been the final step in that ascent. The realization didn't just break his heart, it broke his identity. The drawer he feared to open. There was one drawer in Prince Harry's Montecito office he had always avoided. It sat in the back of a tall cabinet, mostly untouched since 2019. Inside were scattered documents, paper notes, printouts of archived press reports, many flagged by palace security years ago. But at the bottom lay something smaller, an old backup of voicemail archives stored on a 2017 USB stick. Harry hesitated for hours before plugging it into his laptop on November 20th, 2023. He wasn't sure what he hoped to find. Perhaps confirmation, or maybe closure. But what he uncovered deepened the fracture already forming in his chest. The files loaded slowly. Dozens of voice messages, including routine reminders, birthday greetings, and charity planning notes. Then he found one from December 2nd, 2016, marked as urgent. It was from William, left just weeks before Harry publicly confirmed his relationship with Meghan. In it, William's voice was softer than Harry remembered, firm, but not angry. Harry, listen, Marcus Anderson isn't just connected. He's been placing people in rooms since 2012. Meghan's name has come up in background scans twice already. I'm not saying she's dangerous, but this is strategic. Please slow down. Please ask questions. Harry never had. With the final messages echoing in his ears, Harry realized the truth wasn't hidden behind technology or secrecy. It had always been visible, mapped in networks, names, and dates. And now that truth was leaking into the outside world. Tabloids, media analysts, and even Hollywood executives were beginning to whisper what Harry had only just confirmed. Meghan's rise hadn't been miraculous. It had been methodical. And as the world caught on, the pressure moved from private pain to very public collapse. The public spiral. By late November 2023, the fallout had shifted from emotional to public. Word of Harry's private discoveries had begun to leak, not in direct statements, but through anonymous staffers, subtle press shifts, and TikTok timelines. One viral tweet compared Meghan's journey to a seasoned PR campaign, writing, Season 1, enter elite rooms. Season 2, meet the prince. Season 3, secure the crown. Over 12 million views later, the public started asking questions Harry had only recently dared to voice aloud. Had he ever really been pursued? Or had he been selected? Inside Montecito, things had changed. Staff described Harry as restless, obsessed. He carried a leather-bound notebook with highlighted names, overlapping timelines, and annotations linking Meghan's old contacts to royal donors, polo teammates, and even staff from Kensington Palace circa 2015. At one point, He reportedly demanded access to Meghan's call logs and scoured her calendar history for unexplained meetings with Marcus Anderson. Sources claimed he found encrypted messages, dating back to early 2016, logged under codenames he didn't recognize. When he asked Meghan for transparency, she called him delusional. But even as the world debated whether Harry was falling apart or waking up, one question remained unanswered, one even darker than betrayal. What if the marriage, the love, the very life Harry had built wasn't an illusion, but a transaction? A final, carefully calculated move in a game designed long before he was even aware it existed. As the final pieces clicked into place, Harry was forced to confront the one question that no one could answer for him. Was he ever loved at all? The quiet of Montecito, December 2023, was unbearable. Every room echoed with silence. Every memory felt like a lie in disguise. Harry no longer questioned if Meghan's rise had been engineered. He knew it had. But what kept him up at night wasn't the deception itself. It was the possibility that none of it had ever been real. The laughter, the private jokes, the shared glances in Botswana, 2016, the engagement photo under the mistletoe at Kensington Palace, the birth of Archie, May 2019, the move to California, 2020. All moments once precious, now haunting. He began replaying everything with new eyes. Their first blind date, orchestrated by Misha Nonu, felt now like a formal introduction rather than chance. The sudden media storm, once attributed to Meghan's fame, now seemed like part of a designed ignition. Every friend Meghan introduced him to had ties to Soho House, Marcus, or the same four social architects. Every opportunity she received, book deals, speaking gigs, platform invites, tied back to old contacts Harry had once dismissed as just Toronto friends. Now, they felt like recruiters, sponsors, strategists. Prince Harry's journey from palace heir to heartbroken husband has left him questioning everything. His marriage, his choices, even his identity. Was he truly chosen for love, or meticulously targeted as the crown jewel in a powerful network's final move? As whispers turn to headlines and silence turns to suspicion, one truth echoes louder than the rest. Not all fairy tales end in love. Some end in revelation. And for Harry, the story is only just beginning.